Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here in the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler Virtual Book Club, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel, and I'm delighted to spend these next 1,800 seconds with you. This is the week of Thanksgiving. Can you believe it? It really is here, you all. The year has been moving very quickly. The month has been moving very quickly, and we are all here. We're getting ready to spend another 1,800 seconds together. And I want to thank you for allowing me to come into whatever space you've invited me, whether it's your living room, your dining room, your bedroom, your den, your family room, the porch, if you're out walking or whatever you're doing. I want to thank you for allowing me to share that space with you. I am delighted because some people are wondering, what is this guy up here for? What is he talking about? Well, I'm talking about things that I hope are inspirational, things that are motivational, things that will challenge us to show up our best selves in the worst of situations, things that will help us really to show up our best selves even in the worst of situations, because life just has a way of happening. Life has a way of throwing so many things at you. Life has a way of tossing curveballs. And I know many of us are trying to knock a home run. We're trying to knock a grand slam. And for some of us, we're just trying to stay in the game. How about that? Some of us, we're just trying to stay in the game because life is doing what it does. And we just want to make sure that we're resolute, that we have a stand and that we have a stance, and that we can be firm and strong and just keep on moving and keep on doing what we do. And I want to share this with you. Sometimes I know we have these conversations, and these conversations are about us, but many times these conversations are not necessarily about us. These conversations are about people in our lives. And so while sometimes we say, Cutler, those tools don't necessarily pertain to me, they don't apply to me. Well, that may be true, but if they don't pertain to you, if they don't apply to you, maybe they can apply to somebody who's in your life, and you can take some of these tools and share them with somebody and say, you know what, I was listening to a broadcast, I was listening to this guy called Cutler, and he said such and such and such, and he was sharing this. And maybe these could just be conversation starters. They can be a way to generate some kind of conversation between you and a family member, you and a loved one. So take them for what they are, take them for what they are worth. Not everything, and I'm not so disillusioned as to think that all of these pertain to everybody and that it's this wonderful depth of information that we all need. But I'm hoping and I'm hopeful that somewhere along the line there's something in these conversations, something in one of these conversations that we can all take, that we can glean. And again, if we don't put it in our own arsenal, we can toss it over to somebody else and say, hey, maybe this is something you can use. So I want to say thank you all for joining me week in and week out on these Tuesdays and Thursdays for these live moments. Come on over to the chat room and just say hi. Let me know that you're here, because I'll shout out the LTTC VIPs in just a moment. But if this is your first time, and again, if you're wondering, what is that guy they're talking about? Well, he's trying to inspire us. He's trying to motivate us. He's trying to give us some tools that will help us to show up our best self, again, even in the worst of situations. And again, it is I am clear that every conversation, the 100% amount of the conversation, the full conversation, is not necessarily applicable to everybody. So take what you can. And again, I know some of us are trying to knock home runs. Some of us are trying to knock grand slams. But again, some of us are just trying to stay in the game. Some of us are just trying to stay in the game. And I remember so well the moments when I was just trying to stay in the game. I remember sometimes when I was just trying to keep my head afloat, trying to make sure that I didn't drown, trying to make sure that I didn't succumb to what I was going through, trying to make sure that I just didn't go underwater. Sometimes people are just trying to stay in the game. It's not about winning. It's not about getting a home run. It's not about getting the field goal. It's not about making the basket. It's just trying to stay in the game. Sometimes life is just like that. And you're saying to yourself, all I want to do is stay in the game. I'm not trying to score the field goal. I'm not trying to get a home run. I'm not trying to get a touchdown. Right now, all I'm trying to do is stay in the game. And so I'm hopeful that I'm offering some tools and some nuggets that will help us stay in the game. And again, I want you to be empowered to help somebody else stay in the game. What use is this conversation, Cutler? Don't go there too fast. But what use is this conversation if we don't empower ourselves to help somebody else? That's what life is all about for me. That's what the lessons of life have been all about for me. It's not just for me, but it is about me helping somebody else along this journey. If I can help somebody else, if I can just help somebody, then my living is not in vain. So then, just take that for what it's worth and be focused on helping yourself, empowering yourself. Why, Cutler? So that I can help somebody else. Because it does me no good to survive today if my brother and sister doesn't survive tomorrow. I want that to sink in. I want that to help us. All right, let me just keep on going and say thank you for tuning in. And just remind you, if this is your first time, go ahead and subscribe. After you subscribe, click on the notification bell because it lets you know whenever I've gone live. It lets you know whenever I've uploaded new content. And I'm live now. I am here. I want to say thank you again. So come on into the chat room and chat with me. I see some of you logging in and you're making your way over to the chat. So come on over and I'll shout out the LTTC VIPs in just a moment. I do want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It's Thanksgiving. I know it's a bit premature, but Thanksgiving is upon us. And just to let you know that I may just drop something inspirational in for Thursday, but as I hope all of you are doing, take Thursday to spend with family and friends. Shower the people in your family and in your circle and in your village and in your community. Shower them with love. Make sure that they know that you love them. Make sure that the people in your life know that you love them. And I'm saying that because I'm telling you all, just to today alone, and just within the past few days, I've heard of so many deaths, so many people passing, and it just breaks my heart. Death is never good. Death is it's never good at all. But when I think about so many things that I'm hearing about when I think about so many things that I'm hearing with respect to people passing and people dealing with grief over the holidays, make sure the people in your life, make sure the people in your space, make sure the people in your village, make sure the people in your circle, make sure they know that you love them. Do your part to make sure that they know without question that you love them, because what a time we are going through these days. My heart just breaks for so many people and there are some who are well known and others are not so well known, but people are dealing with losses, and people are dealing with losses that are not necessarily new with respect to this year, but this time of year, people are reminded of their heartbreaks and their heartaches, and they're reminded of people who are no longer here. So let's be kind, let's be thankful, and let's make sure that the people in our lives know that we love them. I wanted to ask you all before, how many Thanksgiving is coming, so again, I may very well not be here, so I may just drop something inspirational in, and you all take that time off and spend with your family and friends. But I know people typically start decorating right after Christmas, right after Thanksgiving. They start decorating for the Christmas holidays. So I just wanted to ask you all, how many of you all have started putting up your decorations? How many of you are already excited? Thanksgiving will be Thursday, and I know the Macy's does the Macy's Thanksgiving Christmas Day Parade, and Santa shows up at the end of the parade, and we'll see that Thursday morning at the parade. But how many of you all are already decorating for Christmas? I'm just curious. What are you all going to do for Thanksgiving? Are you going to a relative's place? Are you going to host? Are you going to stay home and not necessarily host? And then so I just want to know, you all talk to me. I just want to catch up and see what the rest of the Let's Talk to Cutler family members are doing. I am going to make my way to my mother's and spend Thanksgiving Day with my mother and grandmother. I know some other family members are traveling, and I just certainly wish you all safe travels for those of you who are traveling. But talk to me in the chat. Yes, I'll catch up. I know some of you are saying, well, that's not what I signed up for, Cutler. That's not what I'm looking for, some inspiration and motivation. I'll give you that in just a moment. But you all talk to me. I want to know what my Let's Talk to Cutler family members are doing for the holidays. I want you all to know, listen, please know this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I am so very thankful for you all. I am, because each time I prepare to come up here and spend these 1,800 seconds, I think, Cutler, you need to say something that's going to drop a nugget in somebody's life. You need to offer something that's going to motivate somebody, something that's going to inspire somebody, something that's going to challenge somebody. So every time I prepare for these conversations, I do it with you in mind. And when I do it with you in mind, I am thankful that you all challenge me, you sharpen me, you push me to a space that's called better. So may I say that I'm thankful for you all as well. All right, let's see. Somebody says trees are up, my favorite time of year. You all talk to me. All right, I'm curious. I see some of you have already started decorating trees up, and I'll say this year, I have more trees up in my house because my family members have made me do it, you all. They've made me put up more trees because there were a couple of years when I didn't necessarily decorate like I typically did. Many of you all remember when I injured my foot, and then I had to have a surgery afterwards, and then I had to have a follow up surgery. And so those times I didn't necessarily decorate, but I'm telling you, my family members have made me make up for it. They said, if you don't put trees up, we're going to come over to your house and we're going to decorate. We're going to do it ourselves. So I was threatened. Let me just put it that way, you all. I was threatened, and I was threatened by some of your fellow Let's Talk the Color people. All right. Let me move on. Again, I'll shout out the LTTC VIPs in just a moment. But you all, I want to talk about how to break out of a rut. How to break out of a rut, because I know that life can happen, and sometimes we find ourselves in a rut. Color, what do you mean a rut? Sometimes people just feel like they're going through the motions. Have you ever felt like you were just going through the motions, felt like you were in a rut, felt like you were just treading through water? Sometimes we used to have this saying that sometimes people feel like that they are getting nowhere quickly. Have you ever heard that? Have you felt like that? I feel like I'm just treading in water. I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels. I feel like I'm stuck in the mud. I feel like I'm just going through the motion. I feel like I'm just getting nowhere quickly. That's what's called a rut. And people go through the I see y'all laughing at me. People go through ruts sometimes. Y'all come on in the chat so I see who you are and know that you're here with me. Sometimes people go through emotional ruts. They go through mental ruts. They go through psychological ruts. Sometimes we go through financial ruts and even physical ruts. Sometimes we get stuck and we feel like I can't get out. I'm stuck in my emotions and I can't get out. No doubt there are some people over the course of the holidays who will be stuck in places emotionally. They may be stuck in grief emotionally. So they may be stuck in sadness emotionally. Sometimes people are stuck psychologically. They can't see beyond where they are, and they say things are never going to get better. I'm stuck in this place. So they're stuck mentally. Sometimes people are stuck financially. They think, listen, I can't rub two nickels together and make a dime. And they think, my daddy used to say, my money is like hen's teeth, or where did that come from? But yes, he said it. And sometimes people they feel like they are just stuck physically. You know, they want to find themselves in a healthier lifestyle, but sometimes people just feel stuck, you all, and that's what's called a rut. I can't even think of a fancy word for it. It's just called a rut. You feel like you're just there. You can't move. You're going through the motion. You're caught up in the tides, and the most you can do, you're out in the water now. You can just keep jumping up to make sure the waves don't knock you down. That's called a rut. And I want to talk about how do we break out of a rut. I was reading one of my favorite passages about a blind man, and I just want to share. I want to put that in context, but I want to give some application to it. By the way, let me just acknowledge the LTTC VIPs this evening: Annie Cutler, T. Cutler, and Sylvia Clemens. Thank you all for being the first people that I see in the chat. I want to talk about how to break out of a rut, you all. One of the ways that you break out of a rut is assume responsibility. Assume responsibility for your own life. Now, notice I did not say assume responsibility for being in the rut, because sometimes other people will put us in rut. Sometimes life just happens and it causes us to be in a rut. Sometimes circumstances will yank us into situations where we did not necessarily see. So when I say assume responsibility for your own life, I don't mean assume responsibility necessarily for the rut that you're in, because again, that would cause us to sometimes play the blame game. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not about trying to play the blame game. I'm not trying to cause anybody to feel bad about the situation where they're in, because sometimes we're in situations to no fault of our own. Let me just acknowledge that. Sometimes we're in situations to no fault of our own. So then, leave my daddy alone, he said. Hens don't have teeth. And that's why my dad would say, my money's like hen's teeth, saying that he didn't have teeth. Yeah, trying to be funny. But I want to talk about this again, breaking out of a rut. Cutler, how do we do that? Assume responsibility for your own life. And by that, I mean, don't blame yourself. But here's what you say. You know what? I am the one in this situation. I have to do something about this situation. It's me in the midst of these circumstances. That is not the same thing as saying, I blame myself for being here. It's my fault that I'm here. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: make sure you say to yourself, you know what? I'm in this situation, regardless of how I got here. I'm in this situation, irrespective of what else is going on in my life. I'm in this situation. So then I am assuming responsibility for my own life, because if I could assume responsibility for my own life, then that is the first step to me breaking out of this rut. I think about the blind man, Bartimaeus, who just yelled out, because in his mind, he said, I'm the one blind. And if no one else yells out for me, then no one may necessarily hear my call. No one else may necessarily hear my cry. No one else may necessarily hear my need for assistance. So let's assume responsibility for your own life and say, you know what? If nobody else is going to help me, I am going to help myself. I empower us this evening to help ourselves. That is my offering. I put it on the table. I give us the power and the strength and the ability and the wherewithal to help ourselves and to become responsible for our own lives. Not that you are the cause of what has happened to yourself, but at least to assume the responsibility. So I may not be the cause for what has happened to me, but guess what? I'll be the catalyst for getting out. I said something that's going to cause me to come back and watch this replay, you all. I may not be the cause for how I got in it, but I will be the catalyst for how I get out of it. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. I may have to post that on my social media page. I need to say that one time because it resonates with me. I may not be the cause for getting into the situation, but I will be the catalyst for getting out of the situation. So that is one thing. Just make sure that you assume responsibility for your own life. If nobody else is going to help me, I'm going to help myself. I'm going to help myself get out of this. If I even have to go out and find other resources, at least I will be finding other resources. I am going to be the catalyst for getting out of this rut. Oh, yes, I am. It would be my mouth that yells. It would be my hand that goes up. It will be my nonverbal communications that beckons people into my situation to say, somebody help me. All right. So after you assume responsibility for your own life, you have to believe that you can change. And I know that that is sometimes easier said than done, but Joel, I want to offer you this. I know that is sometimes easier said than done, but I want to offer this. When I say believe that you can change, Cutler, why would you say that? Because some people are dealing with grief. Some people are in psychological ruts. Some people are in financial ruts. Some people are in physical ruts. Believe that you can change. Cutler, why would you say that? I want you to remember when you were not in that situation. There was a time when you were not necessarily in that situation. So you don't have to live in that place. You don't have to live in that space. You don't have to dwell there. The same way that change came about and caused you to be in that situation. See, I didn't say that you did it. I said change came about and something caused you to be in that situation. You have to say, you know what? I remember when this situation did not exist in my life. And if it didn't exist one time, it cannot exist again. It's possible. You have to believe that you can change. You have to believe that change is possible. I'm looking at my current situation. If I don't like my current situation, I have to remember when I was not in this situation in the past. And if there was a time, you all listen to the words that I'm getting ready to use. If there was a time when I was not in the situation in the past, there can be a time when I am not in this situation in the future. Believe that you can change. I believe it for myself. Every rut I've ever been in. No, it didn't feel good. No, it sometimes it felt like it was just going to take me under. But guess what? I remembered when I was not in that rut, and I remember what it was like not being in that rut, and somehow remembered what it was like not to be in this rut. I said to myself, it doesn't have to be this way always. And when I said it doesn't have to be this way always, my language changed from it doesn't have to be this way always to it's not going to be this way always. It doesn't have to be, so it's not going to be. Believe that you can change. Sometimes we are in behavior patterns. Sometimes that is what's called pathological. Sometimes people just lie all the time. I hope you remember a time when you didn't lie. Sometimes people are caught up in bad behaviors, always getting in trouble. I hope you remember when there was a time when you didn't get in trouble. And so you have to say, because it was not always like that, it doesn't have to be like all that. And guess what? It ain't going to be like that always. You have to define. You have to believe that you can change. You have to decide what you want. Define what you want. Call out what you want. Again, I think about that man, blind Bartimaeus, sitting beside the road. Question was posed to him, what do you want? I want to see, that I might see. I want my sight. So clarify what you want. I want emotional wellness. I want mental wellness. I want financial stability. I want to be physically better. Clarify what you want. I want social well-being. I want social wholeness. I want clarify what you want. What is it that you want? Sometimes we don't get what we're looking for because we don't verbalize what we want. You have to call it out sometimes. And I'm not saying put it here in the chat, but put it in the atmosphere in your own life. Say what you want. I want emotional well-being. I want mental wholeness. I want financial stability. I want to be better. I want to be healthier physically. Say what you want, you all. Put it in the atmosphere. Put it out there. Again, not necessarily in this chat, but in your life, in your space. Put it out there. Say what you want. Clarify what you need, what you want, what you're looking for. And then I got to keep moving, because I want, after saying what you want, specifying what you need, stop worrying about what other people think. Other people told the blind man to be quiet. They told him to hush. They told him to shut up. But stop worrying about what other people are saying. It's you. It's your life. It's your situation. It's your circumstance. It's up to you. You have to be the catalyst to get out of it. Stop worrying about what other people are saying. Sometimes I wish I could give people the power to walk around like this. I remember growing up, some of my friends and classmates, when they wanted to ignore you, they would just go, ah, and so they would cover their ears and just rule out any outside noise. Sometimes you have to take that proverbial stance as an adult that says, listen, I'm going to close my ears. I'm going to drown out the noise. I'm going to close my ears to the background noise. I'm going to silence the noise of the enemy. I'm going to silence the voice of the naysayers. So all those people who speak of negativity around me, all those people who are naysayers around me, I'm just going to silence that noise. And I'm going to stop worrying about what they're saying. Because how many of us know that what they're saying really doesn't matter? What matters is what I say. When it comes to my situation, it doesn't matter what they say. What matters is what you say about you. Next to the Creator, that's the only thing that matters. And then stop waiting for the ideal situation. Sometimes we sit around waiting. Oh, I'm just going to wait for the right opportunity. I'm going to wait for the right circumstance. I'm going to wait till the situations are perfect. There will never be a perfect situation. Let's debunk that myth. There will never be a perfect situation, not when you're trying to get out of a rut. I want to go back and remind us all of these things. Assume responsibility for your own life. Not blame yourself, but assume responsibility. You didn't cause it, but you're going to be the catalyst to get out of it. And then believe that you can change. Remember when it wasn't like that, Remember when it wasn't like that, and say, you know what? Because I know what it's like not to have been like that. I know what it will be like not to be like it again. So believe that you can change. Clarify what you want, what you need. Stop worrying about what other people are saying. Silence the noise of the naysayers in your life. Listen, we're on a trajectory going to end this year. We're going to end this year and go into a new one. Forget what people are saying. Silence the noise of the naysayers in your life. And if you haven't at this point, continue to do inventory and say to some of the naysayers, listen, I'm going to do something new. I'm going to start afresh, and you're not going to be part of it because you are a naysayer. You got to learn how to move. And move into position where, if we're saying we're getting to a space that's called better, let's just do it, you all. And stop waiting for the ideal situation. There will never be a perfect situation. You have to create the situation. You got to take one step at a time. Perfection is just not going to knock on your door. You have to take one step at a time. And then do something that's different. In order to get out of the rut, do something that's different. Jump up, turn around, do something that's different. Take a chance, stand up. That man's just sitting there all along, just sitting there, blind and just sitting there. Some of us want change, but we will not execute change to save our lives. And I mean that with my whole heart. We want change, but we will not execute change to save our lives. There have been some things that I've done because I needed for my life to be saved. I knew there were some downward spirals that would really have pulled me under, literally 6 feet under. But I said, it's not going to be this way. This is not going to take me out. This is not going to take me under. So I decided to get up. And I need to empower some of us. Y'all, God knows I'm trying to help save somebody else's life. I need to empower us to get up. We have the power to change some of our situations. Bad behavior, you can change it. Bad habits, you can change them. Some of these ruts, emotional ruts, I know it's hard. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt and the scars, but you don't have to live in that space. Financial ruts, been there. Been there. Took me years to pull myself out. Been there, done that. But you don't have to live there. Psychological scars, been there. Cutler, you don't look like you've been there a day in our life. I don't look like what I've been through, but I've been there. But I said, this is not where I want to live. This is not where I want to exist. And I offer you all that. Stop waiting for the ideal situation. The ideal situation doesn't come along. So you have to decide within yourself, I'm going to take it one day at a time, one step at a time. Because I can get out of this. I heard Cutler, I listened to him, and Cutler said he'd been in emotional ruts. I would have never believed that man had been in any kind of ruts. Yes, Cutler has been in emotional ruts. He's been in psychological ruts. He's been in physical ruts. He's been in financial ruts. But I'm here to tell you all that you don't have to live in that space. Take it one day at a time. Silence the noise of the naysayers. And sometimes you got to do that physically. Don't answer the call. Don't respond to the text messages. Shut the door. Don't let them in your house, because you have to say to yourself, listen, I'm working on me. That's doing something bold and dramatic. Shutting out naysayers alone is bold and dramatic. That blind man jumped up. I know he must have scared somebody. He must have startled some people. But he jumped up and yelled. The passage I read didn't say he crawled up slowly like a snail. No, he jumped up, created a stir. Sometimes you just need to do that. So people around you say, oh my God, what is going on? What? You just need to do it. So they see you say, because you're saying to yourself, listen, I'm coming out of this rut. Some people just walk by and say, hey, how you doing? And they look at you because for some reason they get some kind of high about seeing you in your rut. Let me just help somebody. There are some people who are checking in on you because they want to make sure that you're still in a rut. But one day you are to make them out of a liar. They're saying, hey, how you doing? Because they want to hear your sad story. They want to hear your down and out story. They want to hear your somebody done me wrong story. Don't you think that everybody's speaking to you, everybody asking you how you're doing, want to hear your good news, want to hear your wonderful news? Some people are hearing it because they want to make sure that you're still where you are. They want to make sure that you're still in that rut. But you ought to make them out of a liar and say it's not going to be this way always. And just jump up and start waving your hands and start flapping your arms. I mean this, you all. And Cutler, what else would you say? I would say, do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Here we are, the 21st day of the 11th month of the year, and some of us are in the same rut that we were in at the beginning of January. And I'm not saying that to indict anybody. I'm not saying that to make us feel bad, but I'm saying it to say, listen, you still got power to get out of the rut before the end of this year. Sometimes people are happy to see you down. They're happy to see you crying. They're happy to see you sad. They're happy to see you humming a "Somebody Done Me Wrong" song. They're happy seeing you at a state where they think that you are lower or less than they are. But you ought to do, I think, what Karen Clark says. You ought to come out with your hands up, rejoicing and saying, it ain't gonna be like this always. I'm good. I can imagine if some of us changed the tone of our voice tomorrow when people say, "Hey, how you doing?" It would startle them. They would look and say, "Is that the same person that I've been talking to for the past 3 months?" Absolutely. It's me, the same person, but I got a new attitude. I have a fresh perspective of where in the world did you get that? Because I talk to Let's Talk to Cutler. And then you tell them, come on and let's talk to Cutler. I'm just offering what I've been through, you all. I'm offering what I've been through. And I know I'm not always, well, I try to be transparent. I sort of say I'm not always that candid. Yes, I am. I try to be that transparent. Because the degrees, they don't necessarily mean a thing. You can have all the degrees that you want and still be in an emotional rut. You can have all the people around you that you want and still be in a psychological rut. You can look physically fit to the outside, on the outside, to an outsider, but you can still be in a physical rut. How to break out of a rut. Assume responsibility. Say, I may not be the cause of getting here, but I'll be the catalyst for getting out. Believe that you can change. Clarify what you want, what you need. Stop worrying about what other people are saying. Stop worrying about all of that silence and noise of the naysayers. Stop waiting for the ideal situation. Do something bold and dramatic that's going to change the trajectory of your life, and do it now. Happy Thanksgiving, you all. Happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you. Again, I may not be here Thursday, but I want you all to spend time with family and friends. Let them make sure the people in your life know that you love them. I love you all, and I'm so thankful, and I appreciate you. I'm thankful for you all. So let's keep doing what we do. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Keep your heads up, your hopes up. Stay safe and stay sane. And if you're traveling, traveling mercies be upon you. Safe travels. And please know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. Until the next time, let's get out of these ruts. Tell somebody else, come on, and let's talk to Cutler. Good night. I'll see you the next time.